Well, hello friends. This is going to be a new build video. This is going to be part one. So I am working on installing a hi-fi system in my living room. I had a lot of components from my apartment in New York that came back to Ohio, so I want to set up a proper hi-fi system. LM is building me an entertainment center at the moment, but this video is going to focus on our system components and putting them together just for a mock-up. So I bought a little preamp, a hi-fi preamp, and I have a power amp laying around, so I figured I would assemble those things with my record player and integrate some Sonos into it and start this just to mock up the system while the entertainment center is being built. So these are my main speakers. These are Vega CM12s. My dad actually got these from the NAMM show in the late 80s. The LM booth was right next to Vega's, and they traded cases for a couple of sets of speakers. I ended up getting 3 sets of speakers, and this was the biggest pair. So these speakers have actually been around in my life since I was a kid. And you can look in some old childhood photos and see these speakers in my parents' living room. So, like many things, my mom forced my dad to get a Bose sound system in the 90s, and these went away. So when I was in about the 8th grade, they made it to my room. So a couple years ago, I actually replaced this red foam ring because it dry rotted out, so I replaced that. So it's still holding up pretty good. But these are cool cabinets. They're 3-way cabinets, and they actually sound really, really nice. So for nostalgia alone, just because they were my dad's, and I've had them since 1999 or so in my bedroom or various living rooms, I'm happy that they're home. These are the Midas modules that I'm still working on. So I also have, speaking of an LM gift as far as pro audio goes, I have this Svs Subwoofer that we used to make foam inserts for that has been in this living room. It was in a recording studio I worked at for a while. It was there, and this has been around for a long time too. So this came back from New York. This is like a 12-inch subwoofer, and it's actually pretty cool. It's got this integrated amplifier into it, so you can actually power stuff from this if you wanted to use this subwoofer as your amp. As far as functionality goes, it's actually pretty awesome too. There's a gain pot. You can adjust the phase from 0 degrees to 180 if you want to take it in and out. There's a crossover. It's pretty sweet. So I'm gonna integrate this at some point. But I've since I've been working on the studio for so long, this is just all the crap is just sort of piling up in the living room. There's my old Tascam console. It's still there, just waiting to go on eBay, and some guitars and stuff. So as we get going, I am going to just clean this area up and start bringing some components in. So here we go. Okay, so I've got everything pretty much cleaned out. I've decided that I'm going to use this little 3-space shock rack that I have laying around just to put the power amp in. So I had this power amp for like, I don't know, 6 or 7, probably 8 years. And for whatever reason, last time I used it, it was really distorted, and it just sat on my shelf for years. And I sent it back to Crown to have them just look at it, and they got it, and of course nothing was wrong with it. So I sent it from Ohio to California for no reason. So that's back. We're gonna check that out. So here's this Emotiva UMC1 preamp. So a friend of mine in New York had one of these, and I thought that it was just extremely cool. So this is a 7.1 channel surround preamp. So all of these RCAs right here are to send to an amplifier for your 7.1, and then in hi-fi world, for whatever reason, I looked at a bunch of hi-fi preamps and they all have XLR outs for the subwoofer. So looking at this, you've got some USB jacks, you've got a bunch of Toslink SPDIF jacks, you've got a bunch of HDMIs, which is why I bought this, and then you have RGB components. So this unit, I believe, is probably from around 2010. So it's old, ancient in hi-fi worlds as far as technology goes, but I got this thing on eBay for under $200, and I thought that that was really awesome. So I've always wanted one of these, and the reason why I got this is it allows me to mix my HDMI inputs. So I can just have one HDMI input going to the TV, and then I can have all my other source components here. So again, I bought this used on eBay. It was under 200 bucks. It was like $175. And you get all that connectivity to it. And it comes with what I would consider one of the most beautifully overkill remotes I have ever seen in my life. I swear this thing weighs 2 pounds. It's amazing. All of these buttons are metal. I smiled like a small child when I opened this thing. It is so cool. I don't know that I'll ever use this remote for anything, but look at this with Torx screws and machined aluminum on either side. This is awesome. It's so beautifully overkill. The hi-fi market is just a world that I know nothing about. So it's all just like hilarious to me because it's like fake, you know, it's like, oh cool, how do we charge somebody for this stupid remote control that 8 people think is cool? But I think it's cool. This thing's going on my ottoman so that everybody looks at it and says, what an incredibly overkill thing. But anyway, I'm gonna get this wired up. So basically, for the test, I just want to get my speakers up and rocking. So I have a pile of cables behind me here that I brought back from New York. I still haven't fully moved back into my house in Ohio. I have tubs and tubs of stuff in my garage, but this is all the cables. So when it comes time to redo this for real, I'm actually gonna just build new cables. And I actually got these cool little flexible braided wire banana jacks, because I've got this like monster cable from the 90s that's like super huge, and it won't fit into the back of the bananas. So I'm just gonna, I have 12 gauge speaker wire at the shop, so I'm just gonna make new cables. Oh, one thing that I probably should mention is I got these ISO acoustic stands, which are pretty cool. I can't remember the model number on these at the moment. Is it the ISO 200? I don't know. ISO something for larger ones. I have Dynaudio monitors in my studio, and they actually came with these. And I liked them so much, I just bought a set for my store in Vegas. So basically, they come with this little pole set here. So if you want to put like long poles, I mean, my hand's about 7 inches long, so it says, I don't know, 7.5, 8 inches long. So you can make those poles, and they have these little spacer guides that go right here. So if you want to make the front of your stand taller so that it angles up, I don't know if that translates on camera very well, but there's that. So anyway, I just have them in little short poles just to get the speakers off the ground, but I figured once I have the entertainment center as an anchor point, I can maybe use the taller ones. But anyway, I thought this was kind of cool because the speakers don't have feet on them. And it's a hardwood floor, so I just figured it would be vibrating. But it's another thing. I got these from Sweetwater. So anyway, that's this. We'll get all the components set up. All right, well, we're all set up. Let me give you a quick tour of the system. So here's our amplifier and our little shock rack here. I decided to put this whole thing on a moving blanket so I could turn it around if I needed to get back there and not scratch my floor, which I am immediately extremely happy with that decision because I've already needed to turn this thing around like 10 times. So here's the Emotiva Preamp, which I have to say, as admittedly not a hi-fi guy, this thing is super cool. Not only is the remote amazing, although I did learn that the batteries are dead in it because you really wouldn't use it for anything, but in order to change the batteries, you literally have to take out 6 screws on the back, which I think is obnoxious, yet very, very cool. So I gotta pop those out. The knob, the volume knob on the Emotiva is wonderfully heavy. It's really, really cool. So I have one of my favorite bands on the turntable at the moment. This is the Tones from New York. Originally from Ohio. Adam, the bass player in this band, and I were roommates for 7 years. But this is their new record that just came out. So shameless plug, if you want to catch some high-level musicianship and really cool grooves, check out the Tones, Time to Play. I just got this record today. Literally came in the mail, so I thought it'd be very fitting to spin that. But for the sake of copyright, I'm going to make sure that's off. But yeah, so here's the turntable. This is a Technics SLD20, again, from my dad. I've had this turntable since I was in the 8th grade. Speakers are up on their ISO Acoustic Stands, which they look pretty cool. So I am noticing something interesting that wasn't present in New York when I had this similar system set up, is that there is quite a bit of ground noise coming through the sub. So I may end up putting an ISO ground outlet in here. On the back, I do have a voltage regulator that I got from New York. Our apartment in the city had a lot of voltage sags in it, so we got a voltage regulator for that, so that's rocking. But yeah, anyway, here's the system. So the next video is gonna come out when I get the entertainment center done, which I'm thinking that should be in the next few weeks. But anyway, again, not a hi-fi guy, but if you have any questions about this rig or about hi-fi stuff, just feel free to drop a comment below. But as always, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. See you soon.